Hi, here's May. For today's video, I wanted to try doing some TikTok OC challenges. I've done them once before for another video and back then I enjoyed it a lot, which is why I'm excited to do this again. The first challenge I chose is a random pause challenge. There are different ones like these. They determine different features of the character. I like this one in particular because it included nice prompts, and at the end there was Wataru from Ensemble Stars. I like him a lot. Alright, and for this challenge I'll show my drawing process up to the point of where I determined each feature prompted by the TikTok. First, I just drew a pose. I used a pose reference from Pinterest. I wanted this character to be more outgoing and went with a happy expression. I would usually also consider the outfit and the color palette when determining the personality, and with that the pose and expression of the character. It was interesting to just draw the pose and face on its own. Now let's see what hairstyle we're giving this character. I like this one. Some casual bangs with a bit longer hair in the back. Usually I prefer drawing bangs over no bangs for characters, so this is nice. Next for the outfit, let's go back to the TikTok video. Looks like I have this reference picked. I like this kind of cute style a lot. I've also drawn some outfits like these before. Another reason I really wanted to do this challenge in particular was because of the many aesthetic outfits included in the references here. I'm gonna show some on screen right now. I used the reference I got and drew some different variations for the outfit. I liked interpreting the reference in my own way. Then for adding an accessoire, I went to the TikTok again and got a bow or a tie, and I went with a bow in the end. Fit well to the cute outfit and I drew it in as a head accessoire, but I was also thinking about putting it in front of the shirt at the chest. I at first wanted to go for smaller shoes, but you'll see that I turned them into boots later on. I haven't drawn skirts in a while, so I had to look up references for drawing the pose there, but I just decided to go with a simpler skirt in the end, along with a off-shoulder oversized jacket, thigh-high socks, some suspenders and a simple t-shirt with a rabbit print on top. I also added rabbits at different parts of the outfit. In the line-art stage, I also made sure to add a bit of depth to the jacket by indicating the seams. Basically not just drawing flat cylinders for the sleeves, but adding a thinner line to show the thickness of the fabric. And for drawing the thigh-high socks, I just used my leg line art and transformed it so it was slightly tighter. Depending on how tight socks or other tight outfit parts are, you can easily portray them by just drawing the body's outline and then transforming to make it a bit bigger, or if the outfit piece is pretty tight, like here, kind of squeezing in the skin, smaller. Just make sure that there is a bit of difference between the body and the outfit outline. Now we move on to the colors. At first, let's determine the skin color. Looks like we got this one. I have to say I don't draw characters with darker skin color often, since I mostly draw fan art of characters with light skin, mainly from Genshin Impact, but when I'm designing characters I like to try different skin tones as well. Now for the color palette. This one is interesting. I usually don't use as saturated colors as here, and it's pretty difficult to combine the colors to me since they are all pretty saturated and have a similar value. Making parts stand out can be hard. Of course, I could slightly vary the colors, but I didn't want to go too far off what the TikTok gave me. I just unified the colors by putting some pink and blue overlay layer on top. I liked the yellow and purple combination, but then adding in blue, orange and red was a bit difficult. I also thought about adding in some black parts as well, even though they weren't in the palette. But in many color palettes, adding in black or white parts can work pretty well. I also tried out some different hair colors. Black, blonde and even red. This challenge was good to try drawing something new. I usually wouldn't use such a saturated color palette. I like the combining different prompts while still being able to customize some things. You can decide how you want to implement what the TikTok gives you. I really like these challenges because they give you some guidelines for what to draw, especially when you're struggling with inspiration. Doing a challenge like this can be nice. In the end, I had a version with a black jacket and slightly less colors, as well as a pretty colorful one with a red jacket. Which version do you prefer? I think when it comes to what matches the prompts the TikTok gave me, the more saturated one works better. For the second challenge, I did the Draw Your OC as Normal, Genevent, Child, Royal and Villain challenge. I chose my OC Yumari for this. I would say he's the OC I connect most to from mine, since he's the moon guardian in his world and I like the moon aesthetic wise a lot. He's also inspired by some of my favorite characters like Sogo from Idolish 7 or Jack Frost. First, I drew the normal version. I haven't drawn Yumari in a long time, since January, and for the newer version I made his proportions a bit wider. I experimented with a body tilted to the side and to the front, and I went with body facing the front in the end. The pose here is a bit similar to his initial character sheet. I color picked from there, but I also have to say, as I was drawing him, I noticed how similar his hair color and the color of his shirt for this outfit are. All parts have pretty similar values, and because of this, making parts stand out can be a bit difficult. I already talked about this for the first OC challenge, but this is often the case for more pastel-y art styles like mine. There won't be as much contrast in it. It's still good to include darker and brighter parts in the illustration most of the time to bring attention to different areas, and first experimented with some lighting situations, but I decided to go for a regular top-down light in the end. For the pattern on his shirt, I took the same image as for my original one and transformed it. It took me a bit of time to figure out which layer modes I used to make the pattern look the same as in my original art. I liked the colors of his shirt, the bright pastel-y blue transitioning into the purple for the pattern. I added lots of hue variation on the hair and some on the shirt to make the colors look nicer and fit more to the dreamy vibe he has. I also wanted to make sure the rendering for the silver would look nice, and this is how the normal illustration of my OC turned out. Next, let's talk about the gender bent version. I don't draw female characters often, but I enjoyed reimagining Yumari as a girl. I made the face shape softer and added some lashes. Then I experimented a lot with longer hair, which was a lot of fun to me. I went with a high ponytail where the hair would still be in front of the body. For drawing hairstyles, I like to separate them into parts like the bangs, the side hair and the back hair. Here it looks a bit like the front hair is separated from the ponytail. I basically combined the regular shorter hairstyle with the ponytail. And I wouldn't say when you draw female characters they necessarily have to have long hair or male characters short hair. I just wanted to change up his hairstyle in a way, so yeah, I just went with longer hair here. Then I made some slight adjustments to the outfit, adding a belt under the chest and a smaller one on the waist. I also added in an earring additionally to his accessoires from the original version. With this challenge you could draw the same outfit for each version technically, but I wanted to play around with the outfit and hairstyles a bit for each version. Here's my OC Yumari drawn in the gender bent version. Moving on to drawing Yumari as a child. Here I went with shorter and more simple proportions. For children, their bodies tend to be more blocky and rounded. I made his hair be a bit shorter, but went for the same overall hairstyle. Then I went for a t-shirt cut for his shirt. I also added some accessoires with stars on them. For the necklace, the stars have some small faces on them. I thought this would fit for an accessoire piece a child could wear. Yumari is a very kind and calm person, and as a child I thought he might have been a bit more outgoing, so I went with a bit more expressive pose with some peace signs here. This one was the easiest and fastest to do to me, since the head had cuter proportions with bigger eyes and the body was more simple. Now let's move on to the royal one. Since Yumari is the moon guardian in his world, it was pretty easy for me to imagine him as royalty. For this illustration, I went with a pose I found a bit difficult to draw since the arm was in front of his upper body. I wanted him to be holding his crown. Often it can be interesting to have the characters interact with objects when you're drawing them. Especially with the hand, you can sometimes see characters holding something that's important to them in their hand for character designs. Objects here could include a phone, stuffed animal, playing cards, a book, glasses, or for idle characters, for example microphones. For Yumari's crown, I decided to go with a smaller one that would be connected to a thinner head ring. Also, I gave him a slightly different hairstyle. His bangs aren't covering his whole forehead here. Then I tried out a bunch of different outfit variations. My OC Yumari has 2 outfits in his initial design. For this royal one, I was also referencing the second outfit a bit. I looked up some princely anime character designs on Pinterest and got the idea to include this shoulder piece. I'm not really sure what it's called because of this. I also went with a longer white jacket, a formal shirt with a bigger straight collar, and a colorful cape for his outfit. Capes are also something I would associate with a royal outfit design. Then I wanted him to wear gloves, since many royal characters in shows and movies wear them. I had a version where he would look up at the crown as well as the viewer, and here's how I'd imagine Yumari as a prince, living as a royal. Finally, let's talk about the villain version. Imagining Yumari as a villain was a bit difficult since, as I said, he's a very kind-hearted person. But then I thought a bit more about it and I could see him as the type of villain who manipulates people by at first befriending them but then using them to get what he wants. He would be rather passive, letting people be violent and execute tasks while he just gives the orders. Here I went with a pose from the back with Yumari looking over his shoulder. It fits to the secretly scheming kind of villain he would be to me. I also wanted him to use some moon magic, so I drew moons from his hand. For his hairstyle, I experimented with some longer hair and a ponytail. I wanted the hair to have rather sharp shapes. I also added in star tattoos on his cheek and shoulder. Then I had him wear a small headpiece and armband as accessoires. I made his sleeves have some open parts and adjusted the outfit once again. I was also thinking about drawing a cape, but didn't go for it in the end. When it comes to villain outfits, I find having more sharp, pointy shapes in them can work to make make the character appear more intimidating and evil. In many shows you'll also see for the outfit designs of the good versus bad characters. The good characters often have more rounded, soft shapes in their designs, while the evil ones have more sharp and edgy ones. It's also similar for the colors. The good group will often have brighter colors, while the evil group darker ones in their outfit designs. Flipping this around can make for some really interesting designs as well, of course, but here for Yumari I decided to go with darker colors, adding kind of a dark galaxy witchy aesthetic for his outfit. I tried out a bunch of variations here since I wanted the close parts to be separated clearly while also making Yumari's face stand out. I also added some darker hair strands, and this is how the villain version of my OC Yumari turned out. And here is how all 5 versions turned out. Which one do you like the most? Thinking about what Yumari would look like or what type of person he would be as different versions was pretty fun. I can imagine that doing this challenge with other types of OCs, for example a very outgoing or old one, could be very interesting as well. That would be it for this week's video. Comment if you enjoyed seeing the OC challenges, because I myself really like doing them and could see myself doing more of them in the future. There are so many great other ones you can try. Then finally, for everyone who stayed until here, I also wanted to mention that you can submit your OC to be redrawn by me using the link to a form in this video description, or by tagging your art with this hashtag on Instagram, and when I have some submissions I might redraw your OC. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Bye!